Nation. Welcome to the Savage Nation. It is the Friday wrap. What a week it has been. If you care to join the conversation, we have an open line for you to type your comments on YouTube, on X. Any racist or vile comments will be eliminated. You will be dismissed forever. You'll never be heard from again. But we're going to continue. I'm not going to look at the comments because I don't want to get distracted by fools. Very serious day of questions, and I put this up on X earlier today. Do you approve of the love fest between Trump and the Hamas-loving communist Mamdani? And the answers were kind of predictable in a certain way. And I don't approve of it. You don't legitimize a terrorist-loving man like Mamdani. I understand, keep your enemies close. This is not a movie. This is not a Coppola movie about the Godfather. This guy has celebrated Hamas, Mamdani. This guy is a lover of radical Islam. This guy has embraced imams who are some of the worst characters on the planet. And to legitimize him by bringing him into the Oval Office is wrong. Now, I'm not an advisor to the president. I'm only a commentator. And my opinions are my opinions only. Whoever advised the president to legitimize, and he not only legitimized him, he glorified him. He sat there saying, we have the same ideas about things. I hope he does well. What are you talking about? How do you make statements like that about a man who celebrates Hamas, is associated with people who are on terrorist watch lists like CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood? How do you celebrate them in the White House? It's one thing to do this quietly behind closed doors and work deals out with your enemy. It's another thing to legitimize him standing there like he's a wonderful guy. It was wrong. This is very wrong. There's a lot of wrong stuff coming out of the White House lately that, if you think I'm alone and I'm criticizing Trump and I'm alone, you're wrong. I speak to people who are the greatest Trump supporters you've ever met in your life. People are way beyond your level, most of you. And they cannot believe some of the things that are being done. So something's wrong here. There's another topic that's worthy of talking about, which I just talked about on Newsmax TV, where these seditious Democrats told members of the military to not follow orders, which is crazy. But the Democrats are, as I said, liberalism is a mental disorder, a book I wrote in 2005. It answers all of your questions. They're mentally ill to make a statement like that. They're telling the troops to make their own decisions about what orders to follow. First of all, any troop, any soldier, sailor, airman wants to take that chance, they're going to wind up 20 years in Fort Leavenworth. That's number one. The first rule of the military is you need a chain of command. Every soldier can't become their own general. Then you have no military. You have chaos, which is exactly what the Democrats want. This is what they did to our cities. That's why you have maniacs setting people on fire on subways. They want to now create this mayhem inside the military. It's sedition. It's sedition. What hypocrisy. Now they're worried about don't disobey unlawful orders. Really? Where were these lying bastard Democrats when they illegally locked down businesses, when they forced COVID shots on troops and they fired the unvaxxed in the military? Where were these bastard Democrats when the border was overrun by 20 to 30 million illegal aliens, which was a real threat to national security? Where were they then, these lying Democrats? Where were these Democrats when they shielded illegals with sanctuary policies? Where were they when they wiretapped sitting members of Congress, these lying Democrats? Where were they when they spied on millions of Americans' social media? And they amplify these lies through the vermin on CNN and NBC, which is sickening that the dummies in the media just sit there like dummies, just dummies. Unbelievable to me. So these Democrats are openly and publicly committing treason by seditiously calling for an insurrection against the president within the military. And President Trump laid out for them what our laws are on that and what the legal consequences will be for breaking those laws. And I hope the people in the military heard it. You better not listen to the Democrats. You're going to wind up in prison for 20 years. Hard labor at Fort Leavenworth if you do that. Period. End of story. So we've gone from Londonistan to New Yorkistan in one election. I published that when he first came out. New Yorkistan is what this is going to become. Make no mistake about it. This is not a normal, middle-of-the-road, average Muslim guy who wants the best for himself and the city. This is a radical Muslim, a radical Islamist, and you can know a man by his associations. His associations were some of the most hateful, vile imams you've ever heard in your life, dressed up in holy robes and filthy nightshirts, preaching vile anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-Jewish hate under the guise of religious freedom. Trump legitimized them today in the Oval Office. So that's my opinion. It's one man's opinion. Other things came up this week that are worthy of conversation. I can't tell you what they are because you know what the news stories are. Then you talk about Ukraine. I want to go to another story. Stories are coming out. Now, by the way, of the plan that was put out for Zelensky and his cohorts to sign, did you notice the one thing they objected to? Or you ass-kissing morons who supported this butchering slaughter for over 2 years now? You stupid idiots, you. All you did was support death and destruction under the guise of your liberalism with your Ukrainian flags on your gates, you morons, you. All you did was get 1 million Ukrainians killed and 8 million Ukrainians fled. You stupid idiots, you're sheeple still running around with your Ukrainian flags. No one's justifying the invasion by Putin, but it happened. And once it happens, and you see that the army is 10 times stronger than the other army, and all you see are death, it's like watching a fight in a ring. And one fighter is being pummeled and pummeled and pummeled on the ground. Blood is coming out of his ears and his nose, and he can't move. And you're saying, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting while you sip your lattes. So what was it that Zelensky immediately said we're not going to sign on to? We're not going to sign on to the audit of where the funds went at all. What does that tell you? The mansions that he has all over the world, the Ferraris, the Bentleys that him and his corrupt henchmen in the military. Do you know that his best friend from his movie days, his entertainment days when he played the piano with his Schmendrick, his best friend fled Ukraine the other day to parts unknown. He fled when they found out there was vile corruption. And when I saw those stories being leaked all of a sudden in the press about corruption in Ukraine, which we've known about from the beginning, but when I suddenly saw them appearing in the media, I said that it's over. The war is over. If they're finally leaking it to major media about this vile corruption on such massive levels we can't imagine, where did the billions go? We'll find out after this war is over. When Zelensky opens a nightclub somewhere in Miami or Los Angeles or something like that. It's crazy. What about the 8 million Ukrainians who have fled the country they grew up in, that they were born in? Are they going to go back and come back from Germany and from Poland, where they become part of those societies? They don't commit crimes, by the way. The millions of Ukrainians who have fled into Poland and Germany and other countries in Europe, you ask people who live in those countries, they're wonderful citizens. They're hardworking. They're not criminals. Do they ever want to go back to a corrupt Ukraine after they've lived in Poland and have integrated into the society? What worries me the most about that, which you haven't read about anywhere, which is I'm going to edify you a little bit. If you look at the border between Ukraine, Western Ukraine, and Eastern, I don't have the map in front of me, Eastern Poland, that area was the borders kept changing in that area over centuries, back and forth between Ukraine and Poland and Ukraine. And that's why the people in that southeastern portion of Poland are fluent in Polish, Ukrainian, and Russian. The borders have been moving around. I'm terrified that the Ukrainians will invade Poland and take a piece of Poland after this is over. I don't put anything past this administration under Zelensky, not at all. So, I just made a note of what I see as a possibility. I haven't read that anywhere. It's my own observation, and I know a little bit about the history, having studied it. And the people in southeastern Poland are very concerned about what I just said to you, but you haven't read that anywhere in the New York Times because I'm usually steps ahead of the journalists, even though I'm just an observer looking in from the outside. I just sit here and I look and I study history, and I'll tell you what could happen. I hope it doesn't. So here we are now, here in America. It's strange times. I said to you the other day, this movement I see, the MAGA movement is dead. It's dead in the water. You don't even hear about it anymore. Where'd MAGA go? It became Make Donald great again. I know you don't want to hear it. I know you don't want to hear any of this. You think it's not right to say it. What am I going to do? I'm sitting out here looking in. The man is self-dealing, self-serving, making his family wealthy, and it's frightening to watch and not say anything about it. And I'm not the only one. People who have been so loyal to him are saying the same thing privately, but not publicly. It's shocking to watch this. So he does a deal with the king of Saudi Arabia the other day. I don't know how big a deal it is. Hundreds of billions of dollars. They're going to build a city in Saudi Arabia. Okay. How does that help America? Does that create one job in construction here in America? No. Who's going to benefit from this? Who? I don't know. The multinational corporations that are made fortunes in the war between Russia and Ukraine are going to make another fortune building this new city in Saudi Arabia. I don't see it as a new city in Texas. Do you? Something's wrong here. I don't know how to say it to you, but something's wrong. MAGA is dead, my friends. You know it and I know it. And then I covered this the other day. I don't want to cover it now. The whole association between MAGA and the fascist Nazi right. If Trump has one of them in the White House, like he did Mamdani, and he's liable to do it, it's all over. It's the end of the story. It's over. It's the end of the road. There's nothing more I really want to say right now. I just wanted to touch base with you and have a few words with you on the end of the week on Friday. It's been a hard week. I have good news. My Cologuard came back negative. I mean, people have been asking me. Remember, I did a whole podcast on it on YouTube, which is Cologuard fake and blah, blah, blah. Well, I hope it's not fake because my Cologuard came back negative. So I don't have to go and get a kielbasa put into my keister. I'm happy about that. Glad to say it is not going to happen. And what else? I mean, what else is there to talk about? We got to take it one day at a time. There's so many shocks to the system. Last week, Trump hated Mamdani, called him a communist and this and a fascist and an Islamist. And now all of a sudden, he's a wonderful young man. He ran a great campaign. He agrees with him on everything. I'm glad you're here. You look terrific. What a great deal we can make. I'm so glad you're going to build housing. And I like everything you're saying. I like the free buses now. I like everything free in America. Okay. And I'm supposed to sit here and not. It's like I'm standing on the ropes of I'm getting a rope-a-dope here. Which the hell way are we going in this country? He's going to embrace communism now? Well, who's going to build all those free houses in New York? Who's going to pay for that? Now, I want to talk about another thing, about affordability. I love this bullshit we hear about affordability. Housing is too expensive for the young to buy houses. Really, when the hell was it easy, you jerk-offs, you? I was young once. I couldn't buy a house. I had to scrape together every friggin' nickel I worked for from the time I was a child in a little bank account in New York on, I forget the Bankers Trust Company on Union Turnpike. I had a little savings account. Every nickel I ever saved, because I was never extravagant with my money, all through my childhood and my teen years and my soda jerk, whatever, all of it, every nickel I had to save and my wife had to save, we scraped together as a down payment for our first house. It was $45,000. We had to put down $9,000. It was every nickel that we ever saved to buy our first house out here in California. And we knew that if we didn't jump in on the rising prices, we'd never buy a house. We didn't sit there whining, I can't buy a house. We knew we had to save every nickel we had. So we didn't go on vacations. We didn't buy fancy cars. We didn't buy fancy clothing. We saved every nickel. We put every nickel into that first house, $45,000, $9,000 down. And we bought our first little house on a cold hillside in Northern California. That's all we could do. That's what we did. So what I'm saying is, where's this bullshit coming from that everyone's supposed to be able to buy a house? Where'd this crap come from? What the hell is wrong with society that we're also, we're going to have affordability. Everyone's going to buy a house. They've always been hard to buy from the beginning. I'll tell you something else about that you may not be aware of. When was food cheap? Most food was cheap also when I was young. Not everybody ate steak and shrimp and lobster every night. You ate what you could afford to make. And then you had children. We couldn't afford child care. What, the government's supposed to give me food and a house and child care? I don't live in China. And you know how they live with food, free food and all of that? They live like shit. Pardon me. Go to Cuba if you want to see what free housing and free medical care and free child care looks like. You wouldn't want to live in Cuba. Is that what you want in America? Because that's what you're going to get in America, with the government buying you a house and buying you health care and child care. This is such crap. You know, you're lucky that you have a man of my age and wisdom to even get up here and tell you about it. Sometimes I think there's no point in my doing this anymore, because not only are the young spoiled and stupid, and they don't know anything about what's coming, but the adults themselves in the media are more stupid than the young, for feeding them the big lie that they're supposed to be able to have a house and free this and free childcare, affordable childcare. We couldn't afford childcare. We found a woman in the neighborhood, a wonderful woman in the neighborhood, and we had to put our child with her in order the fact that both of us could work. We both worked in order to maintain that first house we bought. We had to make payments. How do we make payments? We both worked. So we had to have childcare. We had to pay a woman to take care of our first child. That's how we did it. We didn't expect the government to take care of us. What the hell is wrong with these people? Doesn't anyone in the media know reality? They don't. You look at the dumb girls in the media. They sit there like dummies, sitting and telling you, well, houses are not affordable. Childcare is not affordable. They don't have children, most of these girls in the media. They're sterile. They sterilize themselves with drugs, sex, and rock and roll. So all they could do is make their hair look good. I'm so sick of this garbage. I'm so sick of this. I have to educate you and everyone else about what the hell is real here and what's false. This doesn't end well with an Islamist communist in the White House being celebrated by the President of the United States. I don't like it at all. Yes, meet with him. Yes, have a private meeting, but don't celebrate the guy, President Trump. Why would you do that? Why would you do that, President Trump? Why would you legitimize this man in the Oval Office the way you did today? Who the hell is advising him? I don't know. But you know, you're going to get some of the things you want, but not all of the things you want from any politician. I don't know how far this is going to go, but we have 3 more good years with President Trump, and I think we, the people, need to be heard from. I think we need to speak out and not sit here like frightened people. Oh, don't criticize the president. Oh, he's playing 4-degree chess. I wrote that, you schmucks. I'm the one who wrote that he plays 4D chess while the others are playing checkers. It was me, Michael Savage. I wrote it, not you. I'm the one who said that 4 or 5 before he was president this time. I wrote it in the last administration, in case you don't know it. This is unbelievable to me. Celebrating this bum in the White House like that. I mean, what's next? I don't know. You got to do a deal with the devil, do a deal with the devil quietly. But you don't do it openly like this and celebrate this low-life bum, Mamdani, like this. There's nobody, there's zero. By the way, only 1 million New Yorkers voted for him out of 9 million, incidentally. Only 1 million out of 9 million voted for him. He's not that popular. Don't turn him into a populist Muslim communist. That's what he just did. He suddenly put a shellac over it, a facade over this, like he was the most powerful, interesting guy in the history of New York, and he won. And I blame that bum, that cat-loving bastard bum who won't even pay his own workers. The ones you all thought was a great savior, that Sliwa, that slimy bastard Sliwa. You know, he only got 7% of the vote. You don't understand. It was Sliwa who threw the election into the hands of this slimy Muslim communist. It was Sliwa who did it out of greed, using those election funds for his own gain. And then it comes out this week that the hourly workers didn't even get paid. They haven't been paid. Oh, no, we're going to pay you. They're sitting waiting to get paid for their $25 an hour canvassing jobs. You hear this? Wow. So you can fool some of the people some of the time, and you can fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And I think that's all I want to say right now. There's not much more to say. It's, let's see, on the West Coast, it's getting close to dinner time, which is a sacred time for me. If you have any questions, put them up there. I can answer them. Any other political things come up this week that are disturbing? I don't know. These were the biggest disturbances of the week. What did you see that bothered you? I don't know. What else bothered you out there? Okay, nothing else. Now we're going to get the losers out there, and I don't really want to. Then we have to go have the guy take them down. You know, I could block the comments and punish everybody for the racist losers out there, which I've done on X, by the way. When I see the Jewish haters and the real losers out there who work for one of the Muslim countries, the bots and all of those, I just block you, and then I block all of the comments. By the way, AOC, Occasional Cortex, does not permit comments on our social media. You know why? Because she doesn't want to be seeing this garbage from the stupid people. I don't mind intelligent criticism. I'll take it any day of the week. But when I get racist stuff, I turn it right off, and then I block all comments, which I'll do next on all my outlets. I don't need this. You know, I'm in a certain stage of my life where I could leave the media altogether. You'll never hear from me, and I'm on the verge of it. Because I wake up every day now and I say, why am I doing this? What do I need this for? I've worked all my life since I'm 5 years old to achieve a certain degree of success. And I say, well, you have wisdom that you can share with people. It's worth doing, and you do like to express yourself. It's worth doing. So I do it for those reasons only. Believe me, I'm not getting rich doing this. I'm not getting poor doing this. But I'm doing it because the truth shall set you free. And if it's one thing I like, is to arrive at the truth. The delta of truth. The delta of truth. It's a mathematical statement. Okay, my friends, that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. With God's will and your listenership, Mike shall return. If you like what you see and you see what you like, subscribe, hit the like button. And I guess I'll be back again. Sunday is my TV show, Sunday night on Newsmax TV. Big changes going on over there every day. Some new stories coming up. It's a great network. I love being on that network. And you want me to do a 60-minute show? Let me tell you, they gave me a 60-minute show in January. My first guest was Tucker Carlson when he was still sane and still intelligent and still rational before he got clawed by demons. It was a great interview. And let's see, what else did I want to say? So then I reduced it after about 6 months. I said, I can't do a 60-minute show. It's too much for me. I only want to do a 30-minute TV show, which they agreed to. They let me do my 30-minute show. So I did it. And that's it. Good day. Have a nice evening. Maybe I'll do a cooking show for you over the weekend. Maybe I won't. And I wanted to do this. This is very nice.